Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 27th December today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we start solving these questions, I would like to give the brief introduction about the video so that if you are new to this channel, you will get more connected with it. And if you are the regular visitor of this channel, then you may forward fast this video. In this video, every day we try to discuss different types of questions, and if we will break them into the parts, it would come under three main parts. In the first part of our discussion, we discuss questions with respect to the current affairs. What we do? We take up everyday most important articles from the newspapers. We break them down into the simplest language possible. We discuss them and we derive the prelims based question. We derive the possible prelims based questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea how you should go through your prelims preparation, how you should read the newspapers, which part of the newspaper is important for you, and how a UPSC faculty can frame a particular prelims based question from that particular article. So this is what we do in the first part of our discussion. This is what we learn in the first part of our discussion. In the second part of our discussion, we discuss questions directly from the static part. What we do? Every day we take a static topic, and we had started with Indian polity, and right now we had concluded DPSPs. So what today we are going to do, we'll discuss few articles from DPSPs, even though they are very discrete, but they are very much important for our preparation. We'll get this idea how the UPSC can frame a question from DPSPs or from those particular static topics in different ways. As we had seen from our previous year question papers, UPSC has this habit of framing the same question in different language. They ask in different trends. We'll try to understand this part in our this thing in this part of our discussion, where we'll first of all we'll discuss the static topic and derive the prelims based question from that particular topic. So this is the second part of our discussion. That is what we are going to do in the second part of our video. After discussing the current affairs and the static part, we shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion, where we will discuss few previous year questions. As it is said, previous year questions act Bible to you guys, and for you to clear this exam, for anybody who is aspiring to be the UPSC, to be an IS officer, he has to go through the previous year question papers, and if he does not go through that, it becomes very much difficult for them to crack any prelims exam. So what we will do in this part, we will discuss few previous year questions. We will try to find out the ways and methods by which we can solve those questions if we don't have the proper knowledge, and also we will try to implement that knowledge which we get from these questions which were asked previously in the upcoming exam. So this is all in nutshell what we are going to discuss in this video. And after, before we will start solving now, I would like to request one thing. I don't want to waste your time, because I had seen many comments about that the video starts from after these minutes. That's why I don't want to waste your time, but I believe that this part is very much important for you. That's why I'm discussing it here. you know if you are aspiring, if you are preparing for 2025, I would recommend you one important thing which you should do, and that is, from this video itself you can do one thing. You can start recording these questions, or at least take the screenshot of these questions. You don't know how much important it is for you. When your exams would be near, at that time you would want to revise everything. You would want to go through the current affairs, you would want to go through the static part, as well as you want to go through the previous year question analysis. But the time does not permit you to do so, because you have to go through the vast syllabus. You have to prepare for CSAT also. Time does not permit you to do that at the end, when exams are very much near. I'm talking about the month of May. So what will you do then? How can you clear all this stuff? How can you clear your syllabus in nutshell? So if at that time you have these questions with you, you would just go through these questions. These questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs. They will connect you with the static part, as well as it will connect you with the previous year questions, and it will give you the idea what was happening in the from the last 1 year, what can be asked from the static part, and how previous year questions play a role in your preparation. So this is the idea which these questions will give you definitely when you will revise them before your exams. So this is what I want from you guys. Please note down these questions, or at least take the screenshot of these questions. So this is all what I need from you guys, and please do subscribe the channel if you are new to this channel, and share it with your friends so that they may also get connected with it. And do write in the comments what do you feel about the video. Now, without wasting your time, let's start solving these questions one by one. As here we can see our first question, it talks about the countries bordering Kazakhstan. So you may ask me a question here, sir, what was the need of bringing this question here? Why do we need to know the countries bordering Kazakhstan? How does it play its role in our preparation? But dear students, trust me, it is going to play a huge role in your preparation. You know, we had seen UPSC asks such questions. They will ask you the countries in crisis. They will ask you about the countries in news. What are other bordering nations to them? So it becomes important for us to know those countries which are in the news, to know their borders, what countries are bordering them, what is their geography. So it becomes very much important for us. And why we had brought this question? Because there is a news about Kazakhstan. You know, recently we discussed about the rare earth elements. You know how we are very much dependent on China about the rare earth elements. We are hugely dependent on China. If we can name some, for example, we can talk about bismuth, we can talk about lithium, we can talk about silicon, and many others like them. Many others rare elements like them. We are hugely dependent on China. It is estimated that from 2019 to 2024, more than 50% dependence. For some elements it is more than 50%, for some it is more than 80%. We have that much dependence on China. So right now, if we will see the how world is going on right now, how the global trade goes on right now, we cannot totally depend on China. We cannot have our full dependence with respect to these critical minerals on China. So here the article which was in the news about Kazakhstan, it gives us the way, it gives the government of India a way that India can look beyond China, because there are countries which are more friendlier to us than China, like Kazakhstan, and they have the resources which the China is providing us. For example, it is said that more than 15 rare earth elements are found in Kazakhstan itself. So they have the huge resources, and they have that particular technologies to get those elements, to extract those elements. They have those extraction technologies. So what the author here tries to say, that India should look beyond China and try to cover up their trade with other countries like Kazakhstan, which are more friendlier to us than solely depending on China. So this was in nutshell about this article, what was in the news. Now here it becomes important for us, what are the countries, as Kazakhstan is in the news, it becomes important for us, what is our relation with them, what are the countries which are bordering this particular country. Now by solving this question, we will come to know what are the borders of the Kazakhstan. As here the question says, which of the following countries share border with Kazakhstan? Is Russia part of it? 100% Russia is the country which shares border with Kazakhstan. In fact, it is the Kazakhstan shares the largest border with Russia. Does Kazakhstan share border with China? 100% correct. Does it share border with Uzbekistan? 100% correct. Does it share border with Turkmenistan? 100% correct. Does it share its border with Kyrgyzstan? 100% correct. So from this question we came to know that it shares border with all these 5 countries, and from the code given below we can directly answer. Now the correct option to this question is option D. So with this, I hope you had understood about Kazakhstan, how it is important in the modern trade, how rare earth elements are found there, how they have that technologies to extract them, how it can be way forward for India, how India can overlook China towards Kazakhstan, how India can overlook China by the help of Kazakhstan. This is how Kazakhstan can play an important role with respect to Indian economy. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is with respect to Matsya Seva Kendriyas. So let's see what does the question say. Question says, with reference to Matsya Seva Kendriyas recently seen in the news, which of the following statements are correct? So it is basically about the fishery department. As there was an article which talked about why is strengthening fisheries extension service crucial, why it is crucial for India, why fisheries department is crucial for India. Why is it important that we should strengthen fisheries extensions in India? How it is going to play a role with respect to that? Basically this article, it is written by the secretary to the Department of Fisheries, so directly we can get more good from it. And it talked about how India is the second largest fish and aquatic producer globally. There were a few facts given in the article here, which I want to mention, that which often in the exams they are asked, if not in the UPSC but in other civil service exams. For example, what is the scope of India with global? Which country is the largest fish and aquaculture producer globally? So we need to know about India. India is the second largest India is the second largest fish and aquaculture producer globally, and also we should know that our fishery department, it supports more than 3 crore fishermen. By the help of this fishery department, it can, by the fishery in our country, it supports more than 3 crore people directly or indirectly involved with it. Directly involved with it. And it has seen that more than 87% increase in fish production since 2013-14. So because of these different initiatives brought forward by the Indian Fishery Department, we had achieved this feat that from 2013 to 14, more than 87% increase has been found in our fish production, and we had reached the second largest fish producer in our country. So this article basically talks about various schemes which had been put forward, which has been brought forward by the government of India with respect to increasing the contribution of fishery in our country and helping the fishermen in our country. So in that context, we had brought here a scheme which was mentioned, which talks about which is as Matsya Seva Kendriyas, and let's try to understand more about this scheme through this question. As the question says, with reference to Matsya Seva Kendriyas recently seen in the news, which of the following statements are correct? First statement: they are one-stop centers established under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana to provide support to fishers and fish farmers. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. It comes under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. It has been found that more than close to 60% of weaker, especially weaker class of people in this particular area, especially women, had been supported through this scheme. Coming to the second statement, they primarily focus on providing financial assistance and insurance coverage to those engaged in aquaculture. No, it is not its primary focus. It does not help in this way, but it gives you the technologies. It will talk about the oil seeds, soil and water testing, all that stuff it will give you, not about financial assistance. Coming to the third statement, it says they offer services such as quality testing of fish seed, soil and water testing, and providing advisories on fish health management. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements would be statement 1 and statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. Following this question, we came to know this scheme, it comes under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, and why it has been put forward, what is its official work, what does it do, what does it offer? It offers services such as quality testing of fish seed, soil and water testing, and providing advisories on fish health management. So this is what comes under Matsya Seva Kendriyas. It has helped weaker sections of the society. It is believed that 60% of the women had been helped under this scheme. So with this, let's move to the another question from the same topic, from the same article. Here the another question with respect to this article which was in the news today. It is about Sagar Mitra. What does it talk? Let's see what does the question say first. The question says, with reference to the Sagar Mitra initiative, which of the following statements are correct? As we discussed about the earlier scheme, Matsya Seva Kendriya. Similarly, the another initiative which was mentioned in the newspaper was Sagar Mitra initiative. Let us see what does this Sagar Mitra initiative, how does it work? How it acts as a joint link between, how it acts as a link between the government and the fishermen, the fishers. How does it act as a link between them? How through this scheme the government gives data to the fishermen about which area is suitable for fishing, and about it gives them idea about the cyclones, all that stuff related to seas. So let us discuss this question. Let us discuss this Sagar Mitra initiative through this question. First statement, Sagar Mitras are commonly promote sustainable fishing practices and marine conservation. 100% correct. They are volunteers who are trained to promote sustainable fishing practices and marine conservation. Second statement, they primarily focus on providing financial assistance to traditional fisher folk affected by natural calamities. No, this is not the main work of it. Third, they act as a crucial link between government agencies and coastal communities for effective implementation of fisheries related schemes. 100% correct. They act as a crucial link between the government and the fishermen. So with respect to this Sagar Mitra initiative, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. So with this, we complete these questions with respect to the article which was in the news, which talked about why is strengthening fisheries extension service crucial. So it basically talked about various schemes as we discussed it here. Now with this, let's move to the another topic, another question from the current affairs, and try to solve. Here the question is about which of the following factors contribute to the crowd management challenges in India. You know why we had brought this question. You know, even though it is very uncommon that such question can be asked in the prelims exam. You know, basically such questions are most oftenly asked in the mains exam. But from past few years, we had seen such trends that they will ask you such questions so that they will check your IQ level, your intelligence level, and your you know how you can manage things properly. They had asked few questions like that, and the main idea behind why we had brought this question to give you the idea about the crowd management. And why we had brought this question, because you know we had seen recently how a woman died because of this stepped incident, stepped incident, how you know in the movie while the Pushpa 2 was released and that person died. So with respect to that, we had brought this question. Here the question says, which of the following factors contribute to the crowd management challenges in India? First statement, rapid urbanization and migration to urban centers. 100% correct. Because of the rapid urbanization, you know, when people start migrating to urban centers, there is no planning, and they start living, you know, in congested areas, and this crowd management becomes a real issue there. You know, we had seen transportation, how it becomes difficult, how you know we had seen traffic jams happening, because this is one of the main reason for that. Rapid urbanization is one of the main reason for that. Then the second statement, lack of adequate infrastructure for large gathering. 100% correct. This is also one of the issue. The lack of adequate infrastructure we had seen when there are religious sermons somewhere. You know, we had often seen these step padding happening there, you know, because the crowd management becomes very difficult, and you know they often held these sermons in grounds, you know, and it becomes those grounds are you know they can host few number of people, but you know when such religious sermons are happening there, you know they get overcrowded and the step padding happens there. So with respect to this question, statement 2 is also correct. Third statement, inadequate training and equipment for law enforcement personnel in crowd control. 100% correct. There is inadequate training and equipment for law enforcement. You know, our policemen who are majorly responsible for crowd management, they are inadequately trained with respect how they can manage this huge crowd. So with respect to this question, this statement is also correct. Coming to the fourth statement, effective implementation of disaster management protocols at mass gathering. No, this is totally opposite to it. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be 1, 2, and 3, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, you had come to understand about this issue of the crowd management. Major challenge to it is why it happens, because of the rapid urbanization which we are seeing in our cities. So with this, let's move to the another question from the current affairs and try to solve that. Here the question is about the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar. You know, this Puraskar has been given to 17 children, which in which 10 are girls and 7 are boys. 10 girls and 7 are boys. This now here it is given in 7 categories. If I would like to name them, art and culture is one. Art and culture, it is one category. Bravery, it is another. Then comes innovation, it is another sector in which this award is given. Then comes science and technology. This is another. Then comes supports. This is another, and environment, social services, and environment sectors in which this to these children who are below 18. Now coming to the question here, it says the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar is conferred by which of the following ministries? Which is the ministry which confers this award to these children? It is the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So this ministry is responsible for giving this award to these children who had done extraordinary in art and culture, bravery, innovation, science and technology, social services, supports, and environment. So these are the sectors, 7 sectors in which this award is given. So with respect to this, I hope you had understood the basic idea about the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar. Why we are discussing this? Because this award was given to 17 children, in which 10 were girls and 7 were boys. So we can see here that our girls are performing way better than they used to in the past. So there is much development happening with respect to the woman. So with this, let's move to the last question with respect to the current affairs, and after that we will shift our approach to the static part. You know, if you would have read newspaper today, you would have come to know about the sad demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. You know, he died, and whole world is mourning for him. And you know, he was one of the greatest economists of his time. And because of his work, what he has done in 90s, we are here what we are today. Our country is 3 trillion economy right now. It is because of the things, because of the changes he had brought in during 90s when we were going through the major crisis. You know, we all had read about that, we all know about that how what happened in 1990s, what were the basic changes which we went for example liberalization, privatization, globalization, how impactful was his role in that. We all know about that, but here today there was different articles which were written about him. And this 123 agreement 123 agreement came to my eyes, which was very unique to me also. So I feel, why not bring a question on that, you know, about his economic policies. Everybody knows, even as we had heard that Barack Obama once said that once Dr. Singh speaks, everybody listens. So he was the greatest man, you know, he was the academist who turned into politician. He has achieved greatest in that field. He had right now, as I earlier told you, where we are today as our country, we are 3 trillion economy. It is all because of him, because of his services. At that time when he brought those changes, our economy was 270 billion only, and today we are 3 trillion. And the foreign direct investment at that time was only 97 million, and today we have 82 billion. So because of him, we are what we are today. You know, there are many arguments against him, many scandals in which he was. It is believed that he was also associated, but that is not important for us. But here, why I had brought this question, because it is very much new to me also, you know, and for many students. And I feel that a possible prelims based question can be asked with respect to that. So he played an important role in a civil nuclear agreement with the US. And because of this agreement, because of this 123 agreement, you know, we had India became the only nation to have the crucial nuclear deal with Japan. So it was because of this agreement, and because of these agreements, you know, India achieved, you know, he was called the founding father of the Quad also. The relationship which we achieved with US, Japan, Australia, it was all because of it was his brainchild. So let's try to answer this question, and you know, and get more idea about it. Here the question says the Indo-US Civil Nuclear Agreement, also known as the 123 Agreement, primarily aimed to what? Establish a strategic military alliance between India and US. No, it was not a strategic military alliance. Second, third, impose stricter sanctions on Pakistan nuclear program. No, promote joint research and development in space technology between India and the United States. No. Then what is the correct option? It is option B, which is facilitate civil nuclear energy cooperation between India and United States. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option B. This deal is very much important. This was ground changing deal with respect to Indian nuclear arrangement, Indian nuclear energy. You know, because of this arrangement, we had a great relationship with the US right now, with Australia, with Japan, and what we had achieved in nuclear deals, it is because of all that. It is all his brainchild, and a greatest man we had lost today. So with this, I hope you had understood this question also. With this, we will conclude questions with respect to the current affairs. Now let us shift our approach towards the static part of today's discussion. Recently in the last class, we completed discussing all the articles related to DPSPs. So we discussed every article related to DPSPs. We saw how this DPSPs, they belong to Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. How we saw that how it is not enforceable by the courts. We saw its importance. We saw how it is the how it governs, how it is the how it can help the government to frame the policies. Because when government has to frame the policies, they have to look through the DPSPs. So today I brought these questions to tell you guys how much important they are for how much important they are in front of the judiciary, how judiciary sees DPSPs. And trust me, UPSC has asked such question before to what are the cases related, what are the famous judgments related to DPSPs and fundamental rights. So let's solve this question, and by this question we will get to know more about it. Here the question says, the Supreme Court has in various judgments addressed the relationship between fundamental rights and DPSPs. 100% correct. Which of the following statements reflect the general position taken by the Supreme Court? So by this question, we will understand what is the general position taken by the Supreme Court with respect to DPSPs. First statement, in case of a conflict between the FRs and DPSPs, fundamental rights always prevail. This is not always true. In fact, in many judgments given by the Supreme Court, they had said that sometimes the DPSPs can prevail the fundamental rights. So with respect to this question, that fundamental rights will always prevail, it is totally incorrect. Even though if any fundamental right is not given to you, you can go to the courts. And if DPSPs is not given to you, you can't go to the courts. But still, for framing the policies, sometimes sometimes DPSPs prevail over fundamental rights, and that is not always. So with respect to this question, the first statement is incorrect. Second statement, DPSPs are subordinate to FRs and cannot be used to restrict or abridge them. Even though they are subordinate to FRs, even though they are not that important as compared to FRs, but they cannot be used to, but FRs cannot be, fundamental rights cannot be used to restrict or abridge them. Sorry, as the question says, GPSPs are subordinate to FRs and cannot be used to restrict or abridge them. 100% at cases they can be used to restrict the fundamental rights. So with respect to this question, this is very extreme and also incorrect. So here we can get one thing, one ideology, one trick to solve the questions of which we don't have the proper knowledge. We can understand from this question itself that whenever there is any extreme statement given in the question, and this is the habit of the UPSC, they often frame such statement incorrectly. So remember that over 90% of the times this is the case. Now coming to the third statement, while fundamental rights are justiciable, DPSPs are fundamental in the governance of the country and can be used to interpret the scope of FRs. 100%. Fundamental rights are justiciable, DPSPs are and DPSPs are the fundamental to the governance of the country and can be used to interpret the scope of fundamental rights. This is 100% correct. This is what the Supreme Court had taken its stand on the DPSPs. This is what the question asks us. Then the last statement, DPSPs can override fundamental rights if it is deemed necessary for achieving social and economic justice. This is sometimes true but not always true. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option C. That is, fundamental rights are justiciable, DPSPs are fundamental in the governance of the country and cannot be used to interpret the scope of the fundamental rights. So with respect to this question, this is the proper proper stand which the judiciary has taken over the DPSPs. So with this, I hope you had understood this relationship between the fundamental rights and the DPSPs. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our today's discussion, which is solving the previous year question. And you know that we had started solving questions with respect to geography, and this question was asked in 1995. It talked about the Willy Willy what it is basically a tropical cyclone of northwest Australia. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option C, a tropical cyclone of northwest Asia. With this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. And I also hope that you had understood everything which we discussed here. If any confusion is left, please do write in the comments. We'll try to clear that. With this, I would like to say goodbye to you guys. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's discuss tomorrow again. Bye.